Okay, so you probably saw we pulled the Thor Freedom Elite. This is a 2019 model built off of a E350 chassis. It's only about 20, I guess actually it's probably closer to about 28 feet long, because if it were 26 feet long like we thought, it would only go to like here, but it went significantly further than that. But today is going to be a very interesting install. So the Freedom Elite did not come with cameras, and in front of me you can see a huge camera system courtesy from the folks over at eTrailer, my official channel sponsor. Big shout out to them. They have really stepped up and are providing a ton of really awesome equipment for the modifications and upgrades that are going into my father's 2019, new to him, Thor Freedom Elite Class C motorhome. The side cameras, this stuff is built incredibly well too. Just check this out. That is all, I believe that's probably aluminum, but it might be steel, because it is pretty heavy. We have the other camera here. So these are the side view cameras, and then this will be the rear view camera. So this will give him the capability of using the included 7-inch display to be able to see the sides as well as the back, and they have turn signal inputs as well. So your turn signal inputs enable it to automatically switch to the corresponding side whenever you engage your left or right turn signal, which means if he turns on his turn signal to make a left-hand turn, the left-hand camera will come on and he'll be able to see what's next to him in that instance. Now, that is really cool. A lot of Class Bs, Class B pluses, and many Class Cs actually come with the camera systems on the side. The difference here is the cameras themselves, the entire housing is definitely more substantial than what I've seen from an OEM perspective, basically from what the manufacturers install at the factory. They usually put a really small, low-profile camera, but it's also very kind of flimsy feeling, and this is definitely what appears to be a superior built product, but it is larger, so you definitely have to keep that in mind if you're looking at it from a cosmetic perspective. You will notice these a little bit more when they are on the side of the RV. You have several different ways to get this on your dash. You have a bracket right here, which you can mount above your dash. If you have a aftermarket head unit with a large enough display, you may even have the ability to connect it to that. You have this large curly cord right here, which is specifically designed if you're going to be installing the camera on the back of a trailer. So this isn't necessarily just for RVs. It is packaged specifically so it works well with an RV, with the wiring cables, getting everything where it needs to go. But we have it wired up here on the desk right now, and you'll be able to see once we hit power to it. We turn power on right here. Everything's working. So we have the different cameras that are already in place. So we have the rear view camera right here, and you should be able to switch between your side view cameras. So everything is set up properly. You can see that they are showing well. So that is very cool. So yeah, everything is set up to go. It's all kind of pre-configured here. You always want to do this if you have the ability to. We have a little 12-volt converter right here, which gives us 12-volt power, so we can plug things in and test them before we install them, because the last thing you want to do is to install stuff like this and have it not work. But if you have a motorhome, shoot, you could even, in reality, put this on a fifth wheel. You could put this on other stuff. You just have to be very creative with how you ran the wires into the vehicle so you're able to see it. But this gives you a lot of flexibility to where you can, again, install this on a trailer and then have the ability to link it to your vehicle with this cord right here, which essentially would act as kind of like a power / auxiliary cable to be able to connect it into the dash of a vehicle that you're towing your trailer with. Very cool, though. It is a pretty substantial install. We're going to try to get this thing installed. The most difficult aspect of this is likely going to be drilling these into the side of the cab and then running the wires through the walls to be able to, or into the cab to be able to connect it all. But let me show you what's going on over there. All right, so there's a few different ideas in terms of where they could go. In most cases, you'll typically see them around this area. That way you can wire them directly to your turn signal. It's a lot easier. You typically are going to have a lot of access back here as well, so when you drill into it, you're not going to drill into anything because there's usually a gap back here. The other idea is to put them a little bit further back here, which really wouldn't make any more sense than putting them here, and you'll actually lose a little bit of your angle because of the side sticking out here. But then I believe the folks at eTrailer actually installed them like right here, so you truly see what's going down the side of your RV, and you let the spot mirrors let you know if there's anybody directly beside you. But either way, I mean, any way you put them right here, you're going to have a lot of visibility down the side of your RV that you wouldn't traditionally have. The key here is making sure you have enough wiring to get to where you're going. But again, the main wire that you have to worry about in terms of length is going to be your video wire, because your video wire isn't something you can just cut into and add additional length to if you need to. Your power, all of that stuff, yeah, you can splice additional wire into that, but your video wire you typically don't want to mess with. So right here would be a good spot, and also right there would be a good spot. But we'll figure all that out, and once we get this installed, we'll come back and show you what we did. Okay, so we're back out here, and you can see we have the side camera on both sides actually installed. And the reason for installing it right here, and it actually is a really intelligent reason, it makes the whole process a lot easier, is because the floor in the RV is right here. You guys might not remember Buddy. He's the dog that we found on the side of the road a couple years ago. Anyways, so attaching it right here allows you to run the wire down under here into the cab very, very easily. So you're not having to try to fish wires through the fender. This is actually a good spot. Plus, it's going to give you better visibility all the way down the side. You can see the wire ran right here to the monitor. The other side is also ran in the same way. And yeah, he's going to be able to put the third camera on the back, which isn't installed yet. That's probably going to be the most difficult, of course. But then he's going to run that in here to the monitor, so he has access to all of them. Of course, Buddy's being an attention hog. But yeah, it's going to give him exactly the type of access he needs to be able to see everything he's trying to look at. Very cool. So the only camera now that needs to be installed is going to be the third and final camera on the back of the RV. Okay, so we are attempting to run the rear view camera, the new one, and we made a really interesting discovery. And that discovery is, if you drop this panel down right here, which covers up all of this stuff, and this right here is actually the back fiberglass wall of the RV, because right here, up top, is the framing. So you have your Luan board on the inside, you have your aluminum framing for the wall, you have your hole right here which goes out to that back tail light, which has the factory camera on it, which is super foggy, hard to see through, and needs to be replaced. You know, there's an option here where we could replace that with another one that's identical and have a nice clean look, but because it's integrated into the light, it may be a little difficult to find it. So what we'll probably end up doing is drilling another hole right beneath it. We'll mount the new camera, and get this, the actual plug or wire going to the OEM camera that was on here is the same connector as the new camera we'll be installing. So what you're seeing right here is the wire coming in from the existing camera that's on the back, which is again integrated into the center clearance light. It's got this little adapter right here that you can unplug, and it's got your 5 pins in here for your audio and video, and then it goes to this piece right here, which is actually exactly the same as the new camera system plug going into this cable, and this cable right here goes all the way up to the radio up front. So this is actually really, really simple, and let me explain how we're going to do this. So I already told you we're going to mount the new camera below the center high mount light bar up here, and it's going to connect to this cable which feeds all the way to the front. And up here, this acts as both a reverse camera if you put the RV into reverse, and it also acts as a normal rear view camera if you simply want to select rear view camera on the screen. The screen that we're adding for the side view cameras gives you the ability to split the screen between the two side cameras. And because we have that capability, it makes more sense just to replace the bad camera on the back of the RV with this new camera. Look at this screen for your reverse camera as well as your always-on camera if you need it, and then use the screen that came with this system as your side view cameras. So you can see both split screen, both side view cameras at the same time, and you don't have to constantly worry about it switching from one view to another. So that's how we're going to wire it up. Once we get everything done, we'll go ahead and demonstrate how it's going to work, but I think this is going to be the best way. Otherwise, we would have just kind of a really complex way of needing to run things. We'd lose the camera on the screen here, and we'd gain it on the new screen we're adding. The problem is you'd have to toggle through screens to see the views that you're trying to view. So, hope that all made sense, but we're going to go ahead and get the hole drilled in the back so we can run the new cable through. So my dad's feeding the grommet through right now. We already have the mount in place. Camera is all leveled out. After we get this done, we'll put the sun shield and then finish up the install, securing it to the back. Okay, so we have everything mounted in place. Wire ran through. Looks really good. We're just spraying some release up there to get all the dirt and grime from our hands off of the back of the RV. we are almost done. Okay, so we are inside the RV. We're gonna power it up and see how it looks. There we go. That is, I'd say, a lot clearer than the previous camera. What'd you say?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. He's got a view of the back bumper. He's got a little bit of the back wall, not much off to the sides, but you really just want to see your bumper and behind you, and you'll be able to see if there's any cars behind you. You should be able to see a good amount of the escape back there as well. But just in case you can't, he's got another camera up here as well. It's one of those rear view camera mirrors that I put on my truck, and I told him about it, and he got one for his as well. But this should work really well. Anyways, super fun project. We don't have the monitor in here yet, so we can't necessarily wrap this video up until we get the monitor and the side view cameras in place. So we're mounting the bracket to the dash. Had to cut the back of it off because it extended too far. It's actually pretty hard to find a great spot to mount that screen, and this is just about the only spot available. Okay, so we have the monitor mounted. We have the cable going to the back. Unfortunately, there wasn't enough slack coming off the back of the monitor here to put this big chunk of stuff back here, and the space that we could put it wouldn't fit. But there's a huge plug that's right behind this space right here. This piece right here just kind of pops off. It's pretty dang easy to work with. The cable is ran right around the edge of this material. There's a lot of space here, mainly because this is the engine cover. So on these E-Series vans, this entire cowling right here will come off to reveal part of the engine, and because of that, it gives us space to work around it so we can actually get some cabling. The main cable that's going to connect to the side cameras is going to be up under here, and again, the rear view camera is connected to the back of the infotainment system here, so we're not going to have it connected here. You'll just have basically a split screen where you'll see one side and then the other side, and then it will be set up with the turn signals, so when they turn on, it'll actually fill the whole screen with the corresponding turn signal. So that is pretty cool. We definitely have some more work to do with this one. We're going to wrap it up for today. We've been out here for quite a while trying to get all of this done and ran, and yeah, we're gonna keep going with this van because there's a lot of really interesting and cool products that we still haven't even tackled, such as the sumo springs that will be going on the front and back, the mud flaps for the van itself, and several other little goodies. Anyways, guys, again, a big shout out to the folks over at eTrailer for providing all of this. They are an absolutely phenomenal resource for any and all things trailers, trucks, RVs, accessories, you know, anything you need, even tools. So go check them out. I'll put a link in the description of this video, and a lot of the favorite products I have that you see on my channel are in the description section, and it takes you directly to eTrailer where those products are. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.